the walls. We're breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No oppression is out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No oppression is out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No oppression is out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. Reclaiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness. Welcome to another Friday night edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is the political cage match where bold solutions win and bad ideas get wrecked. Tonight on Are You Smarter Than a Politician, we take on one of the hardest questions facing America. Is debate dying? Charlie Kirk's assassination shocked the country, and whether you agreed with him or not, I respected his love of God, free speech, and our country. Tonight, in his memory, we ask whether free exchange of ideas can survive. Our three sharp political contestants will clash over free speech crackdowns, cancel culture mobs, social credit scores, satire on trial, government surveillance, financial censorship, and the culture wars tearing us apart. This isn't just about politics. It's about whether Americans can still argue, laugh, protest, and challenge power without fear. Get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. And joining us tonight is my buddy and the always reliable contestant, Kaecey Rasmussen. He is the host of They Both Suck, which is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's on Rumble. It's on YouTube. You can follow him at American versus Gov on X. How are you tonight, Kaecey?
Double muted. There we go. Now you can hear me. Doing pretty good. Glad I'm here. Talked a lot of shit last week with Jack on. We're going to continue it this week. It'll be a good show.
Yeah, you guys were fighting already. It's good stuff. Peacefully fighting, though. Speaking of Jack, also joining us tonight is Jack Danger. He's the host of Secret America, which is on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern. He's on YouTube, he's on Rumble, and you can follow him on X at America's Outlaw, and that's America's with a Z, America's Outlaw. How are you tonight, Jack?
I'm doing very well. I love being here. So thank you guys for having me. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting show with Kaecey and Burnin T and the always lovely Terry here.
You forgot me about I'll allow that.
Well, you're the government, so nobody likes you.
That's true. That's
Well
true.
played.
I got court papers that say nobody likes me, so that's fair. And last but not least, the great Burnin T. He is the host of Burnin Truth. That's on Rumble, and you can follow him on X at Burnin T Ranch. That's Burnin, no G, with a T and Ranch. Burnin T Ranch. How are you tonight, Burnin?
That was funny the way you said
You know,
That was terrible.
I'm doing all right, Free. I'm happy to be here. I think with everything that's gone on the last couple of weeks, this is a timely topic. You know, it's well, we all know what happened to Charlie, and we all mourn the loss. Let's not forget Irina as well, because unfortunately, Charlie's News has kind of taken over the media, but we've seen a lot of evil out there in this world, and it all needs addressed, not just one of it.
Absolutely. Well, lots of people that are victims of things that should not be happening, and hopefully we'll figure out some solutions tonight. And joining us as always, the lovely Terry Batts. How are you tonight, Terry?
I'm doing great. I hope everybody's doing well. And as always, Free, it's an honor. Thank you for representing Charlie and his love of God. I appreciate that. You guys in the chat, you ready to go? You're already hitting it pretty hard. So let's keep it moving. Glad to see you guys.
And one note I want to make tonight. Tonight is the 1 year anniversary of when Terry and I started doing the live stream. So we survived a year on the streaming platforms pretty much successfully. We just crossed 500,000 views. So that's a pretty decent number for a year's worth of work. Considering a year ago tonight, it was just me and Kaecey, and I was pressing a bunch of wrong buttons, and Kaecey was laughing at me. We've come a long way. So appreciate
better ratings than Kimmel.
Have we? Because we still press the wrong buttons, read the wrong numbers. Like
what? I hit the wrong button there. Sorry, Kaecey. Sorry. I missed what you said there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Love you too.
So I want to say thank you to Terry. For those of you that are watching for the first time or don't know us very well, Terry does so much work to make all this happen. She's she's chasing people all week long to get 2 shows done. And I mean, she just does so much behind the scenes, and then she does a ton of work on the show here during the live show. So all my appreciation to Terry for being such a great partner in this. So thank you, Terry. Speaking of which, let's jump into the chat. Let's see who's here. Happy Free Day. Thanks, Chris. Welcome, buddy. Hodie's here. What's up? Amity's here. What's up? First 100 points goes to Burnin T. I believe that was because you actually followed her back. So that was from earlier today.
I mean, I followed her back in like 10 seconds. So
that was pretty good. Worth the 100 points.
Absolutely.
Patty says the loser gets goosed. That might be Canadian. I don't know what that means. James is here. Welcome. Dan's here. What's up, Dan? 500 for Burnin T winning. Yeah, he was betting on you. I told you betting's only by Zano on Friday nights. So he said he'd bet Zano. So Mike's here. What's up, Mike? Thanks for the repost. 100 to Kaecey because he's probably got a beer. Yeah, there it is. There it is. Another 100 to Kaecey's beer. Green Eyes is here. What's up? Minus 100 to Jack for not liking Free. Yeah, that's fair. Someone got nuked for not liking my questions last time. So just saying. 100 to Jack for not giving the host props. Oh, Jack, you're already down, man.
Well, I think Chris isn't Chris a communist?
Yeah. Yes.
I got called a leftist again today. So you got points for downing the government. So you're back a little bit. What's up, OB? Make sure you're following OB and checking out her art. She's got amazing art for sale. Mrs. Burnin T's here, classing up the joint. Thank you for joining us. Zach's here. Terry gets an infinite amount of points for just being awesome. Absolutely. Oh, and your partner in crime, James is here. What's up, James? Welcome.
Yeah, James Clary from Secret America. He's going to be on this show on October 7th, actually. So
how do you know that? I don't even know that.
Because I'm going to be on the same episode.
Oh, are you? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. It's going to be weird.
I'm probably going to be on too, and I didn't know. So good by you. So
I feel some
awesome.
nukes are being built for October 7th. So.
Casey's loading one up as we speak. There we go. All right. So, I forgot to do real quick. Let me jump in here. And so our Friday night shows are sponsored by Zano. And if you're tired of surveillance coins dressed up as freedom tech, Zano is the real deal. Open source, enterprise grade privacy, scalable and secure, build, spend, and tokenize any asset without the peeping eyes. Zano isn't just private. It's none of their business. And if you're new to this space, please visit intro.zano.org to learn how Zano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets, all in one simple, secure platform built for real world freedom. And like I said, great guide at intro.zano.org if you're new to all of this and just want to check it out. So go there. Appreciate Zano for sponsoring the show. And if you want our swag, as always, when Kaecey's on, I like to wear my other car as a Killdozer shirt. You can get that at freedomsuperstore.com, as well as a bunch of other shirts and mugs. There's some cool stuff. So check it out at freedomsuperstore.com. And we're ready to jump into it here. So please share this out. Help us bust the algorithm, as Kaecey likes to say. The winner tonight will get the virtual Ron Paul holding the Ron Paul trophy, Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear, the home edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician, the Ron Paul and Murray Rothbard bobbleheads, as well as the Lego Killdozer set. The rules are I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. Rules are the contestants can debate each other, which we know that's coming. They can also veto an answer, tariff an answer, redistribute an answer. They all start off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. Here's how the scoring works. The chat controls the score, so you can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. You can have a good reason, not have a good reason. Technically, if you have a good reason, it'll probably be on the screen, though, so you might want to put a good reason in there. And former contestants can nuke the scores. So they can nuke a score, taking it all the way down to 0, but they only get one chance to do it. And a contestant can only be nuked one time. So, all right, gentlemen, are you ready for the lightning round? Here we go. Kaecey, to you. Category is the core of hate speech. Should all speech be legal, no matter how offensive?
Yes, 100%. There's only one answer to that question. Anybody that says anything different doesn't understand the Constitution. Free speech is all speech. Now, it doesn't mean that it doesn't come without consequences.
All right. Jack, to you. Does the government have the right to decide what counts as hate speech?
Well, no, because, I mean, you can't really legislate what counts as hate speech because anything could count as hate speech according to the government. So that's why it says free speech, you know, it's free. I mean, you can't count something as hate speech because, you know, like I could say something's hate speech and somebody else could say something different. It's really just subjective and it's all semantics. So no, they can't decide what is hate speech. That's more of a moral question.
All right. Burnin T, to you. Should words ever be treated as violence?
So, words are not violence. Violence is violence. And we heard the governor of Utah state that last week, but I fully believe that's the truth. You know, we grew up in a generation where sticks and stones may break my bones, and now everybody's all in their feelings.
All right.
So is my governor. He's in his feelings. He's a piece of garbage.
Hey, I did notice one thing, though, and I want to call this out. I appreciate Kaecey telling us who he is. He's wearing his pronouns there on his shirt.
There is a pronoun on my shirt, but it's followed by the rest of the government, why I hate them. So that's a word. That's why.
Oh, boy. We already had a pronoun citing. So, all right, Kaecey, back to you. Category is boundaries of punishment. Should speech only be punished if it directly calls for violence?
Should speech only be punished if it directly calls for violence? I don't
Inciting
think,
violence.
I don't think speech should be punished. Like if you don't like it, it's fine. You can have a disagreement and you can have a conversation, but I don't think there's a reason for punishment for speech. If someone has their feelings or their opinions on what they believe, then have a conversation with them and address why they have those feelings. Like there's no reason for punishment in those situations. It's called civil discourse.
Okay. Jack, to you. Is labeling speech as hate just a tool to silence opponents?
Absolutely, because whatever speech that you label as hate is obviously something that you're against. So it's literally a way to silence your opponents. If you don't like that speech, you're against that speech, so you call it hate speech. You are literally silencing your opponents. So yes, that's exactly what it is.
I agree. Burnin, to you. Does banning hate speech push dangerous ideas underground?
I mean, yeah, it really does. And here's the thing. And we saw it, and you've heard, Charlie talk about this, but when people stop speaking is when the violence starts. And when you start banning speech so that you can't have an open dialogue around it, that's where the crux of all evil begins.
Agreed.
All right. Kaecey, back to you. Categories online hate speech. Should big tech lose Section 230 protections, which is immunity for online platforms from liability for user-created content, if they censor speech?
I'm in this. I may get some flack for, but I also think Section 230 should be removed from all online platforms. I think we have justified protection for journalism and put that into social media, and they are not equal. I think we need to separate them. If we want to hold content liable for, like, social media platforms liable for certain content, then let's do that. But let's not call them a journalist organization or anything like that. We need to be separating them and doing it properly. So should big tech companies lose Section 230 protections? I think they should be removed right now. And if we need to establish something for certain content that goes into social media, let's do it. Let's evolve with technology, not try to apply old practices to new technology.
All right. Jack, to you. Should private tech companies be required to let me try that again. Should private tech companies be required to censor speech they label as hateful?
Well, that's kind of a trick question, because they really shouldn't be labeling speech as hateful. I mean, speech is speech, and no, they should definitely not be. Not only should they not be required to censor speech they label as hateful, they shouldn't be allowed to censor speech that they label as hateful, because I mean, they're already labeling it hateful, which probably makes it to where most people can't see it anyway. I mean, that's just a way to get around free speech.
All right. Burnin, to you. Is banning users for hate speech online censorship?
Dual-edged sword here. As a private company, I think they have the right to ban anybody they want for any reason. Does that make it right? And should the users then determine whether or not they want to do business or reside on that platform? Absolutely. But this comes down to government over regulation, right? It's a private company should be able to do whatever the hell they want, but the people have the determination to decide whether or not they want to participate.
Big facts.
Agreed. Kaecey, back to you. Category is laws and enforcement. Should hate speech laws be separate from violent crime laws?
They are separate. It's the gray area that the corrupt government and the system wants to make that a gray area so they can attack violence and say that's part of speech. They are separate. When we are trying to say that they are equal, that is the corruption in the government and the manipulation of the citizens trying to be pushed on everybody to buy into it.
All right, Jack, to you. Should hate speech charges be banned in America?
Well, yeah, again, because labeling things as hate speech is just a way to silence the speech that you don't like. So if you can charge people, if you can label something as hate, first of all, you shouldn't be able to label something as hate speech, because again, it is going after speech that you don't like, that you don't find particularly popular. And then charging somebody for that is another way to silence your opponents, silence the people that have opposing ideas. So yeah, there shouldn't be charges for hate speech, and there shouldn't be labels such as hate speech.
Big facts.
All right, Burnin, you. Is linking hate speech to violence silencing opposition?
So I'm going to go a little bit different direction here, and I'm trying to interpret the question that's being asked. But I think if you have somebody that's committing a violent crime, and I'll say, this violent crime is against a black person, and just before committing that crime, they decide to drop the N word and say that, it's all these people don't belong in our country, yada, 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 then I do believe you should be able to link that as hate speech or use that to amplify as a hate crime, because there's nothing worse than attacking somebody strictly based on race. Outside of that, I mean, again, I don't believe, speech is a crime, but I do believe it can be an amplification to a crime.
I would like to debate that only for one reason.
Oh, you want to just add on, or do you want to debate?
Let's just go ahead and debate. Well, no, I'll just add on to it. Never mind. I'll
Okay.
just add on to it. It's not really the fact that I don't think that it could amplify things, but see, the things is things aren't treated the same. Like if you say the N-word before you commit a crime, should that amplify it for a black person? But what if they say, they call me a cracker before they beat me up? Would that amplify it for me? That's why I don't really believe in hate speech laws.
Well, so, and I know you were just adding on, but we're going to debate it slightly. We don't need to go for the full thing.
Okay.
If you look at what happened with the beating of the white folks, I want to say it was in Ohio.
Cincinnati, yes. And they actually, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And they did charge those as hate crimes. So they did reverse it, and they are seeing it go both ways under the current administration. Now, you're right. Has it been used unjustly? Absolutely. But properly applied, I actually see a value to it to amplify when it's strictly racially motivated, and that can be proven.
And that's the problem, though. What you just said, properly applied. Nothing by our government is properly applied. And these kinds of things are definitely unequally applied, especially given the anti-white racism out there today. And nothing seems to go, if you hate on a white person. I'm sorry?
Based on that premise, no law should be enforced.
Jack.
It's never equally applied.
Yep.
Well, we're talking about hate speech in terms of where there's free speech, of course.
Based on your argument, no laws should be applied because.
But you're talking about applying a law that has to do with the First Amendment, though. That's what you're talking about.
Your argument is that they're inequitably
I was talking about,
applied.
no
And
laws
I'm
are
saying,
equally applied, of course.
Based on that logic, no law should be.
But we're
enforced because
talking about a
they're all inequitable.
constitutional law here. You're talking about speech. Okay, you're talking about an add-on to a crime. That's what you're talking about, right?
Uh-huh.
Enhancing
That
a
was the
crime
initial,
based
and
on
your
speech.
argument was they're inequitably applied, and based on that premise, all laws.
No.
are
All I
inequitably-
said was crimes are not. All I said was it's never going to be nothing with the government's equally applied. But that's not why I said the law shouldn't be made. I said the law shouldn't be made because hate speech in general is still speech that should be protected, regardless.
That's not
Because you
what
can
you
call
said.
anything hate speech. What's hate speech? Anybody can call anything hate speech.
Free, can we rewind and play back what he actually said? Because he's
Well,
kind of rolling over here.
I don't think we need to get into the weeds on it, but my point would be that if we're all created equal, if you get beat up, you get beat up. If you get killed, you get killed. It should be one penalty for that crime. It shouldn't matter whether you were a certain color or whether you were dressed nice in court or any of that stuff. The law should be equally applied no matter what transpired before, or if it's a crime, it's a crime.
And basically,
All I have to say for you three, your white privilege is showing.
it must be, because the only thing I'm trying to say though, and the only thing I really wanted to say though was that hate speech should not be considered a crime. It shouldn't be considered an add-on to a crime, because there shouldn't be hate speech, because what is hate speech for one person is not hate speech for another. So I mean, you can't really do that. You can't really apply it that way.
Jack, I think you need a beer. You seem worked up. Are you okay?
I'm just passionate, man. That's what makes me lovable.
You look like you need a hug.
That's why people love your show, Jack. That's for damn sure.
Thank you.
Facts.
I appreciate it.
Facts.
All right.
You guys are
all right.
awesome.
Back to Kaecey. The category is the future of hate speech. Will America ever adopt European hate speech laws?
Yeah, if we allow the corruption and the evildoers that want to control the freedom of the world, yes, they will eventually get that done here. But it will not be done if you have the four people on this panel keep speaking out about the truth and trying to explain to everybody why we have the Constitution and why we have the things in place to protect America. And we will be fighting for that and ensuring it doesn't happen on our watch.
All right, Jack, to you. Is hate speech just the first step towards banning free speech?
Absolutely. Look what's going on in the UK. They started with the whole hate speech thing, and now they're banning any kind of speech online. Anytime something hurts your feelings now in the UK, you will be arrested. Even if you're a 90-year-old grandmother on her deathbed, they will arrest you before they arrest a migrant that would stab you. So I mean, that's basically where we are now in the UK, and banning hate speech was the step towards that. That's what took us there. That's what took the UK there. And if we didn't have the Constitution, that's what would take America there.
Agreed. Burnin, you. Is the hate speech debate itself proof that debate is dying?
I mean, as long as we're debating it, debate's not dying. But I think I see where you're going with this, and the fact that people aren't willing to sit down and have a conversation is the proof that debate's dying. We've become so divided. And I hope I'm not stepping on a future question, so if I am, tell me to shut up. But we've become so divided, we don't even talk to the other side anymore, and the other side doesn't talk to us. We're not allowed to have civil disagreements or civil discord because it's automatically labeled, as racist or fascist, or in AOC's case, we just label her as dumb as fuck. But it's already dying. But it's not because people aren't willing to debate. It's because people aren't willing to have a conversation.
By the way, this is a PG show, T. You just upped our rating.
What? Since when is a PG?
He said
We allow you on here, man.
Now it's an
Hey,
X-rated show.
Cheers, my friend.
Now that it's rated R, can I take my shirt off because it's hot in my office?
Back.
There you go.
All right. Back to you, Kaecey. The category is social credit scores.
Oh, geez.
Should America ever adopt a social credit score?
No, absolutely not. Those things are created to be able to control people. There's a reason why the Constitution was established, is to keep the government off of us and to stay away from us. When it comes down to it, the social credit score is only supposed to oppress and control the citizens of that country or who will use it. And so we should not have it. No.
All right. Jack, to you. Is social credit nothing more than government control?
I mean, it's government control, and any of the companies that they want to allow to control. It's government control, and then also government control by proxy too. Any kind of credit system like that is government control. If they can say you say something bad on social media, right, and they bring your social credit score down, then all of a sudden your debit card doesn't work at the store. Or you can't go buy groceries or gas for 48. Your car won't start for 48 hours because you said the wrong thing on social media. So your score's down a little low. You have to have at least a 5 for your electric car to be able to start. Yeah, the government pretty much to control everything you do. And it is without a doubt government control.
What are you laughing about?
Do you want us to give an answer, like a statement with the answer, or do you just want yes or no?
You're supposed to add on to it. You're always supposed to add on to it. Have you been on the show before?
I answered both questions, and then Jack took it further. I have a prediction on what the third question is.
Go for it. What's the prediction?
Are we going to turn off money spending because of government and social credit score?
That's exactly what would happen.
Jokes on you. I don't know what the third question is. So let's find out. Burn into you. Should behavior outside the law be scored?
All right, so I'm just going to say this. That's the dumbest shit I've heard. Again, and y'all have seen this. That's the Constitution of the United States. If it's outside the Constitution, it's not even worth debating. We need to stick within the Constitution. People need to do two things. They need to do two things tonight. Pick up your Bible and remind yourself of our Creator, and reread the Constitution of the United States.
Facts.
Well, that got ugly there for a second. All right. Enter your scores in the chat. Bail me out here. If you haven't put your scores in the chat, put them in now. Let's jump in the chat. The chat is just hopping already. Patty's speaking a different language, something about a hat, I think. 100 points, whatever's going on there.
Fuck around, find out.
Brit's here. Welcome. Truth Jack on hate speech, 200 points. Points to Burnin for not being offended by simple words. Great answer to Kaecey. I spelled it properly. Yeah, well done there.
Yeah,
That's
that
the only
means it
word you
doesn't
spelled
count.
properly all night so far there, Patty. So thank you. Points to Burnin for the hate speech answer. Points to Jack for the debate. Minus to Burnin for trying to properly apply hate laws. Points to Jack for clarity of debate, and point to Burnin for good answers. Minus 100 to Jack for being white, apparently. Points to Burnin because no law is applied equally, or half of Congress would be in jail. Well, all of Congress.
All of
would be in
Congress.
jail. All of Congress, yeah. Pretty much everybody within DC. The only people that are arrested is like young black guys right now, and they should be arrested way more than that. So
535 of them in DC.
yeah. Well, no, I would do all the unelected bureaucrats too. Let's just just put a dragnet out there. Points to both Jack and Burnin T. It was a draw. Points to Kaecey for the laugh. Points to Kaecey for pulling off the white privilege line while looking like Dire Straits. Britt wants to amp up Jack with a monster here. 500 points for passion. 500 again for a great debate from James. Points to Burnin for recognizing only anarchy is the logical solution if we ask government to do anything right. Mrs. Burnin says, can we check Jack's blood pressure for a minute? That would be badass if we could have like Jack's blood pressure as like a gauge on the side here. That'd be pretty cool.
Coming soon.
Minus to Jack for hurting my non-existent feelings. Yeah, we got to stay away from scientific's imaginary feelings. Points to Kaecey for sounding like he's in a wind tunnel. Yeah, there is some sort of hissing or something going on.
Is there?
Yeah. We have audio problems. We have all sorts of problems tonight. I don't know what's going on.
I didn't hear it, but it was just funny the way you said it.
The harder I work on the questions, the more insults I get about the questions, and the more technical problems we have. That's literally that happens every time. I should just die. I should just mail it in.
That was funny.
Points to Jack. Points to Kaecey and T2. Points to Kaecey because I spelled his name wrong when I took points away. Points to Jack. Points to Burnin for the conversation point. Well said. Points to Jack for UK hate speech. Did I say hi to Shirley?
She's in the UK, yeah.
Yeah. She joins us from across the pond in the middle of the night, so we appreciate Shirley.
She knows exactly what I'm talking about over there.
Yeah,
It's about 1:40 a.m. right now over there for her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Glad
she was
you
out in
joined
that huge march where they said it was like 10,000 people, and it was like 3 million people or something.
Is it that one? Was it Tommy Robinson? Is that who it was?
It was the big one they had just last week, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that who that was?
Yes.
Okay.
You're right, Jack.
Oh, thank you.
Points to Kaecey. Society provides consequences for social evils. We don't need corrupt politicians to stand in. William's here. What's up, William? Points to Kaecey for the Bronco in the background. Who is John Elway? Points to Jack. Good explanation on Gov. Points to Burnin for being amazing. Oh, here we go.
Mrs.
Here we
Burnin
go.
points to
Here we
Burnin
go.
for being amazing.
I bet you she'd like to see a pet too. Apparently, that's good. That's coming.
Oh, geez. Look what you're setting up. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Points
leave
to
it the
Burnin for
government. Leave it to the government.
I'm just foreshadowing it. We're guessing what's coming. I'm just going to do it too. Points to Burnin for reading the Constitution and a Bible. Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle, you are not late. Whenever you want to come, Michelle, you're always welcome. So, all right. I didn't share the scores yet. So let's pretend like I did that already. Huh?
I'm winning, so it doesn't matter.
Are you winning? Is that what's going
I don't
on
know.
here?
Do you want me to pull the score up or no?
I don't know where it is. Hang on.
I got it.
I must have closed it or something.
Here, I got you.
All right, thanks. All right, so let's see where we're at. Burnin's in the lead. Oh, Kaecey's in last. That was a bad prediction. Burnin 1450, Jack 1120, just 20 points ahead of Kaecey at 1100. What do you think so far, Burnin?
Hey, I think it's been fun. Jack was a fun debate there. It wasn't a formal debate. We'll have to do that later on in the show, but it's tight. Anybody can still win. So let's keep going. We've got some good exchange of ideas here.
I think that was a good strategy. You're trying to tire out Jack before we get too far into it. See if you can get him to sprint a little bit and then get gassed at the end and fade. I
See,
think those,
no, I have to play with him a little bit because I don't want him to stroke out. Right, so I need him to stay in the show. If we have to call 911, it ends the show.
that's true. This being a virtual show, it'd be hard to help him. So
Who knew Jack was a politician that would have a stroke on camera?
I know, right?
All right, so let's jump back into it here. Kaecey, to you. Category satire on trial. Should satire be protected no matter how offensive?
Oh, absolutely. And this is out of all people, I have to support satire. You guys have heard it from me, but I think, and this comes from Russo. Some of you guys know Anthony Russo, who I did Truth Will Set You for Free. Truth Will Set You Free for years. And he always said comedy is a good way to wrap in tough conversations and create a atmosphere of welcoming people to disagree. And so I think satire should always exist because it actually breaks up the monotony and allows us to have a good conversation / make it relatable.
All right.
Well said.
The great Anthony Russo. Absolutely.
He doesn't know who you are.
He doesn't know who I am. I still got my name tag on my desk somewhere for when Russo. I wore a name tag every time I was on your show because Russo didn't know who I was. So, all right, Jack, to you. Should parody of leaders ever face legal action?
Parody of leaders ever face legal action? No, it's the same thing as satire, which is free speech. I mean, a parody is the same thing as satire, like he was talking about. Satire should never be legislated or banned or anything like that because it is free speech. And if you're a public figure, and the Supreme Court has ruled on this as well, whereas parodies and satires and things like those people that like the things that the people do on the Tonight Show and all these other things, they are free speech as much as even if I find them offensive, even if I hate them for doing it, it is still free speech. So no, it should not be banned or made illegal or whatever the question was.
Yeah, they banned it in California already. That any AI parody is illegal now.
Oh, that'll get overturned eventually.
Yeah. And then they'll do with like the New York gun laws where they'll change like one sentence in it and it'll be the law
have
again
to keep
for 2
doing it every.
years.
Yep. Exactly. They'll do it in California. They will do it.
Yep. 100%. Burnin T. Is comedy censorship proof that America's lost its sense of humor?
No, America hasn't lost its sense of humor. The left has lost its sense of humor. They're a party of feelings rather than facts.
Okay.
Truth.
Kaecey, to you. The category is free speech and cancel culture. Is cancel culture making society more fragile?
Yes. And cancel culture is also only silencing one side of the conversation. If you notice, it's never from the other side. And when it comes down to it, we have to embrace it. We have to allow people to have repercussions for what they say. And there is consequences for what you say. And we have to allow those things to work their way out.
Which one side?
Which one side?
Yeah.
A lot of everything when it comes to cancel culture, over the last 4 years, it's usually been the left versus the right. Very few items from the right.
All right. All right, you guys know the rules. Burnin goes first, and then Kaecey responds. All right, go.
So based on the premise that it's pretty much just the left, if you look at what happened with people who responded to, Charlie Kirk's assassination, the right came out in full force and canceled a shitload of people. With that being said, I think that was justifiable consequences for their actions, but we definitely enforced cancel culture in a big way over the past week. It's not just the left. We do it both directions. If you look at, Sydney Sweeney, the left wants to cancel out American Eagle, but we did it with Dylan Mulvaney. It's a constant back and forth based on our belief systems. The problem is that I don't see either side recognizing that that's actually what they're doing. We canceled a shitload of people in the last week. Did they deserve it? Yes. Do words sometimes have consequences? Absolutely. But we can't claim that it's only one-sided.
So I understand what you're saying, but the way you're describing it is the difference. If you say something crazy on social media because of your political views, A company can let you go. A company can fire you because you are a representative of that organization because you are employed there.
But
We
we
have
out
done
them,
that
which is
thing.
canceling them, right? So
Huh?
it's we took something that they meant for 20 people to see and get a little chuckle out of, and we on the right said we're going to take that and we're going to action it. And that I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm just saying we shouldn't say that it's one-sided.
No, what I'm saying is one-sided is you have the left going and calling for people to be fired for their jobs. You have the left going to people's jobs and protesting them. The right does not do that.
We just did. We called for all those people to lose their jobs.
Who called for those people to lose their jobs? Everybody did? Because I didn't. I didn't.
We had websites that were stood up to track the people making the comments so that we had
Okay.
people making phone calls. And I personally didn't do it, but we on the right did do that.
Okay.
We called for them to lose their jobs. We called for Kimmel to lose his job. I personally
Well-
didn't, but a lot of the people on the right did. And it's we got to recognize that they are one and the same, even though we don't want them to be. And
Okay.
it's we look at it and we say, well, our party doesn't do that, but sometimes we do. And we have to own our shit.
I understand what you're saying. The part that I'm saying it's different, and I haven't seen that part of what's on the right. If they are legitimately calling for people to be fired, that's not right. Now,
Have you turned on Twitter in the last week?
no, well, my Twitter is very different than yours because I live in Utah where it happened. My Twitter feed is very weird right now. I have Big Noon Kickoff that will be here tomorrow that I'll be at. And then I have everything that happened at UVU with Charlie Kirk. I don't see a whole lot of things that the average people are like right now. And so it is different for what I am seeing. I haven't seen these websites. I would agree with you if I saw them. And because we shouldn't be calling for it. But now if a company wants to fire somebody because of what they said, for example, Kimmel. If ABC wanted to fire Kimmel because of what he said about Charlie Kirk, ABC can easily do that. I have no problem with ABC taking action and with their employee if it is something that he said. Now, we as people should not, of the United States of America, we've been talking about free speech. We should allow people to be doing these things and then let them reap the consequences. It is not our part to be going and telling this company that they need to be letting somebody go. But if a company wants to let somebody go because they said something really stupid, then they have every right to do so.
No, I agree. We're allowed consequences, but I think, I mean, literally, if you scroll Twitter this week, and I see all the UVU stuff and Charlie Kirk stuff as well, but there were millions of posts of people who said inconsiderate shit, and we canceled them. And I say we, I didn't participate in it, but we on the right did. It's so
I was scientific saying I'm drinking Bud Light, which is furthest from the truth. I will not be speaking that bull piss.
I'm jumping in here. I'm with Burnin T on this. I mean, cancel culture is not laws. It's the mob saying this person should be fired. And, you know, I think that it's completely out of control. Some of them were really dumb. And
I would also like to say something real quick that I
you just
agree that
interrupted government.
both sides have been doing it. I mean, we did it, you know, this time, just like they did it last time. And both sides do it all the time. It just depends on who is in power at that moment. The left was in power at the time they were doing it. We're in power now, so we're doing it. And it will continue till the end of time.
And
it doesn't matter who's in power because they did it to Bud Light. They did
but they had.
Bud
I'm
Light.
talking about the people that wanted them canceled. They had like not the power.
I think it's whoever feels righteous.
Yes, I think the power is the wrong word. I'm not talking about political power.
So Bud Light is an exception to this, guys. You realize the people that they were making fun of in their ads by putting up Dylan Mulvaney is everybody that would be against everything about Dylan Mulvaney. So they criticized all of their consumers of their product. They did it to themselves.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
That one's very different than when we're talking about people getting fired for free speech. When it comes down to this, like Burnin is bringing up a perfect example. I did not see anything of what he's talking about at the magnitude that he's saying. And this is the power of algorithms. I don't see it. My algorithm's very different right now. I don't see half of the crap that average people do.
Let me jump in here again. Zach didn't like your answer and you got nuked. So
Oh, he nuked me like hours ago. If you would have saw that.
well, let's pretend that this is a show and I'm trying to make it look seamless. So you got nuked. You got nuked. So all right. So you're back to 0. You got nuked. All right. Let's jump back into it because now I've got a couple questions left on cancel culture and they're going to be all screwed up. So
I noticed I noticed how Free was second right there, and he got switched to the top really quick when that came back up.
well, I got to keep you in order. I got to keep it in order. I get all screwed
that
up.
Was funny because Kaecey
makes
was
fun
on
of me.
top. That was funny. That was funny.
All right, Jack, to you. Is cancel culture just mob rule with hashtags?
I mean, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. And I mean, am I upset? Now, I'll be honest with you. When they were doing it on the left, I was upset about it. Now that they're doing it on the right, I'm not upset about it. But obviously, that's because of my political leanings. It's got nothing to do with whether it's fair, or whether it's right, or whether it's wrong. It's absolutely mob rule, which is really what democracy is mob rule. That's why I hate when people say we have a democracy when that is not what we have. We have a constitutional republic. We're ruled by the Constitution, not the people. And that is what mob rule is. And that's exactly what cancel culture is. Yes. It's online mob rule, basically.
Yep. All right, Burnin, to you. Is cancel culture the new form of thought control?
I mean, it's not the new form, right? Cancel culture with the hashtag Me Too movement and everything else. That was what, 12, 14 years ago? But it is a way of suppression. It's not thought control. I never changed my beliefs based on, the hashtag Me Too movement or anything since. But it's definitely speech suppression.
I don't think you're the average person, though. I go by the Carlin rule, which is think about how dumb the average person is and then realize half the people are dumber than that. So I don't think you're the one that's going to be thought controlled. But all right, no. Kaecey, back to you. The category is work and cancel culture. Should personal posts cost people their jobs?
If the employer wants to take action at an employee because of something they said in their personal life, absolutely. It is the employer's choice. Now, I will openly say, if you are a top performer in the organization, your employer will defend you. So don't be a shit employee and talk shit on the internet. You won't lose your job.
Or just hide behind a pseudonym like I do. Although I'm not going to fire myself, so that's a bad example. So actually, I might fire myself and take the weekend off. Who knows?
You should after this, Free. You should after this.
Yeah. All right, Jack, to you. Should employers remain neutral on employees' politics?
I mean, they should. Will they? Probably not. But honestly, if you're an employer, you are a private company. You really have the right to do whatever you want. The market is what will take care of that kind of thing. Like if you've got a company that's, all in on this side or all in on that side, the market will take care of that. They shouldn't be, that's not something that you can legislate or make laws about. Because again, the private company has the right to free speech just the way any private citizen does. So, I mean, you can't legislate, their political opinions any more than they can fire you for yours. They're allowed to, just like Kaecey said, they're allowed to do that kind of thing. And, just, like he said, be one of the top performing employees, and they won't. So, yeah, I think, they should be allowed to, or they will. Let's put it that way. They definitely will. And, the market will correct that.
Okay. Burnin to you. Should employers be allowed to monitor your off-duty activities?
No. What you do on your time is your own time. With that being said, if your activities don't match the values and it's brought forth to your company, they have the right to take action on it. And, as Jack just said, the market will correct that.
100.
All right. Kaecey, back to you. Category is surveillance of speech. Should the government monitor online speech?
Absolutely not. We have the First Amendment for a reason. There's no reason for the government to be monitoring our speech unless they are trying to silence us. That is the only reason why they would want to monitor our speech.
All right.
I want to ask him a question. I don't want to debate this. I just want him to clarify. What about in the event that you're making online threats against, let's say, our president? Should those things have notifications that come up at the NSA and say, hey, we might want to ask this guy if he's feeling okay?
That's a tough question, because it's the same thing about CP and the internet, right? Like, do we want to stop that from being regulated around the internet? I get asked that all the time as a libertarian because I do not believe in regulation. I do believe that we should be living in a moral society, that we should trust each other and not have the government involved. And so, no, the government should not have those justifications of doing actions, because they will do exactly what they did with the Patriot Act and turn us all into terrorists, and why they need to monitor us. And so, no, I do not agree with the government doing that.
Okay.
All right, Jack, to you. Should surveillance powers be rolled back to protect speech?
Surveillance powers be rolled back to protect speech. Like, you mean like being able to surveil like online things or like text and stuff like that? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes, sir.
I mean, they should, all surveillance powers should be rolled back unless you have a warrant, I think. I mean, and obviously in some cases there needs to be surveillance, but only if the judicial powers believe that there needs to be, only if they believe that there's probable cause, if there's an actual warrant for these surveillance powers. You shouldn't be able to just, surveil somebody for no reason, with no warrant, no probable cause, no justification. If you're going to surveil somebody, you should have to have justification for that. So, I mean, there should be no instance where surveillance powers don't have some sort of justification for using them. So should they be rolled back? They should all be rolled back to where you have to have a warrant of some sort. And I think that might even be the case, unless it's like traffic cams, even that kind of thing. You should still have to have a warrant for any kind of surveillance.
Totally agree.
Welcome to libertarianism. Welcome.
Yeah, you're back. You're back on our side. All right, Burnin, to you. Should citizens' online speech be immune from arrest?
Yeah. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm going to say yes. It's again, I'm going to go back and point over here. That's the First Amendment, Article 1, First Amendment right there. You shouldn't be arrested for speech, period.
What about your question about a threat to the president?
Well, again, as I think I pointed out, should somebody go out and say, hey, are you feeling okay? I didn't say arrest the guy. If you make a threat, and let's be honest about our surveillance environment in this country now. If you're talking to somebody on a phone call and you say the wrong trigger words, there's somebody at NSA with a pair of headphones on and says, oh, we need to listen to this call. They don't have warrants for any of this shit. Look at Snowden. I mean, the metadata. They're already doing it. We need to get rid of it. But the simple fact is, and you know this, Free, that's not going to happen. So we need to be upset about it. But nobody should be arrested for what they say. But that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be a trigger to say, okay, let's go out and make sure this person's feeling okay. Let's figure out if they actually have intent and use it to maybe actually do a formal surveil where you get a warrant. Yeah, I'd support that, because I support that in the environment that we're in, knowing we're in that environment. I don't believe we should be in that environment, but we are. Here we are.
All right. I think I agree with most of that. Kaecey, to you. Category is national security secrets. Should leaks about war crimes be protected speech?
Oh, 100%. Free Edward Snowden. Because if he didn't have to go seek asylum in Moscow, we would be much more silenced on the internet today if it wasn't for Edward Snowden. And so we need to be protecting these things. And also asylum. We need to give, not asylum, freaking pardon Julian Assange because of the stuff that he did with WikiLeaks.
I totally agree with that. I wish he was watching this drone nonsense that's going on. That's for sure. Jack, to you. Should the press be free to expose classified abuses?
If they're abuses, yeah, I do think so. The problem is who determines what's an abuse. That's the thing, because it's all semantics. If there are certain things that do need to remain classified. Obviously, if everything America did was put out into the open, that could be cause for problems, enemies and that sort of thing, because there are people in this world and countries in this world that want to do America harm. But do I think that I don't think that let's put it this way. I don't think that they should be punished for things that they can verify are classified abuses. If they can verify that they are abuses, and even if they're classified, no, they should not be punished.
Yeah, they make entire servers classified that have tens of thousands of people that have access to it. And so when they can say like, all right, this whole building is classified, anything that goes in or out of this building or is stored in this building. I mean, if everything's classified, then you ruin freedom of speech, freedom of the press, all of those things.
That's why
there's a building 20 minutes from my house called the NSA building at the point of the mountain that is a major data center that is an information hub on American citizens. That is a classified building. If I tried to drive up to the front of that, I would be escorted off the property by very long ways. And that tells you how much power and what this government is doing with our information on the internet.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm going to go one step further, Kaecey, because I've seen where they've classified state dinner menus.
Oh, yeah. No, they've classified newspaper ads. I've seen it myself. Yeah. They've redacted newspaper ads. And I will say that also, they're absolutely right that, things you can't classify everything like that. But if they can verify that there are abuses, if they have actual verifiable evidence to be able to print classified things because they are abused, then yeah, absolutely, go ahead and do it. Even if it's classified, if it's something that's being abused and they have actual evidence, which is something journalists should be doing anyway. They should be verifying shit before they just print it anyway. But if they can verify that it's an abuse, if it's classified or not, I think they should be able to print it.
Way to start dropping them 4-letter words. Now you're going to get our rating taken away.
Yeah.
Free is a 4-letter word. I'll keep
I was
using
going to say, I think it's the anniversary of the date of when we first started getting in trouble for streaming. So, all right, Burnin, to you. Should national security ever justify silencing speech?
Ever justify silencing speech? I'm going to take this in a slightly different direction because we've silenced speech for forever. I mean, look at RFK. It's how do you define silencing speech? If our government doesn't like something, they happily take people out. Is any of that ever justified? No, not in my opinion.
All right. Kaecey, back to you. Category is political speech and incitement. Should politicians be punished for fiery rhetoric?
Yes. Lock up most of the left. There are people on the right that are doing it, but the left does this more than any other group as a politician. And it's awful. And you can look at Maxine Waters as the leader of all of it. She is going in. She did it during the Summer of Love. And so, yes, they should be, because they are not serving their constituents if they're only criticizing one side of them.
So that I have this straight, we want 100% free speech unless we don't want free speech?
No, we're talking about politicians that are supposed to represent their constituents.
So politicians don't deserve free speech?
But being punished for fiery rhetoric against other parts of their constituency should not be allowed. They should have actually respect against their constituents.
I agree. This is a consequence. I just wanted to see if you're going to stick to your guns there.
All right. Jack, to you. Is labeling opponents as violent just a way to silence them?
I mean, not if they actually are violent, but I can tell you that labeling opponents as anything is pretty much a way to silence them if it's not something that they actually are. Now, free speech, again, is absolute. It's free. You're allowed to say if you want to label someone as violent, you can label them as violent, but it's up to the average person. And as you said, you take the average person and 50% of the people are dumber than that, which was funny. I like that quote that you said from Carlin, but you're absolutely all right. It's not, you can label people whatever you want, but people should be able to discern, with their own minds, if that's true or not, and whether you have credibility. So, it is what it is. It's what's going on, and whether we like it or not, that's what they do. And they're doing it predominantly, as Kaecey said, they're doing it on the left side, doing it to the right, while they're the ones that are actually committing the violent acts. It's sickening.
All right, Burnin, to you. Should lawmakers face charges for rally speeches gone wrong?
I'm trying to think about that question. It's should lawmakers face charges for rally speeches gone wrong? If somebody gets out there and gets the crowd fired up, in they're speaking accurately, then no. But if somebody goes out and let's say a lawmaker says, "Well, we need to take down MAGA," and you all have the tools to fight, and then they start pointing towards a pile of bricks, that's incitement of violence, and that's an entirely different story.
What about they wanted to punish Trump for January 6th?
I mean, he told him to rally peacefully.
But I'm saying, we talked about this earlier about how it's applied. They'll take a law that somebody didn't break and try to wedge them into charging them with that.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a slippery slope?
Yeah.
I mean, we have incitement laws on the books for a reason. I think using the Trump as an example is not really a good example. He offered up 10,000 National Guard in advance that were turned down by Nancy Pelosi. We all know this. There should be no charges for that because he did things in prevention of. But if you're looking at it from a different angle and you have somebody that's not in that position to offer up those National Guard and they're out there and they're pointing at a pile of bricks and saying, go fight, that's a different level of incitement. I think you're looking at apples and oranges.
No, I'm not saying anything about what actually happened. I'm saying that they wanted to charge him with inciting the deaths of the Capitol guards or whatever.
They wanted to. They couldn't make their case. Right. If the case is made, the case is made. But you have to have the supporting facts and details in order to make that case. And if they're there, then yeah, I think if Ilhan Omar goes to an ICE facility and she fires people up and she's had George Soros drop off the weapons, then yeah, she should be charged for incitement. But I think they're different. I think they're different scenarios. I think using Trump as the example isn't really a good example because there's enough basis around it that they did everything they could to try and charge him and they couldn't make a case.
Let me interject here. So, Free, what you're talking about, I understand where you're saying that's what the narrative the left is painting, right? But if you actually take what Donald Trump said is we are going to march down and make our voices heard peacefully and patriotically, but then you have people like Maxine Waters that says we got to stay on the street, we got to get more active, we got to get more confrontational, we got to make sure that they know make sure that they know that we mean business. That is very different than what Donald Trump said. And that is from an elected politician. That is the rhetoric that needs to stop from politicians.
Well, I don't know if you could make that a law, though, as opposed to, I don't know if you could really turn that into a law as opposed to it being like maybe there could be like a code of ethics for, people in Congress where they can't say those kind of things, or they're taken out of committees or out of Congress. But it is still a free speech issue.
The free speech only applies to citizens, not to government.
All right, let's.
Now you're in a slippery slope. But Jack, blink twice if you're being held against your will.
All right, let's check the chat.
Hey, believe me, I hate Maxine Waters just as much as the next guy.
Yeah. I hate them all equally.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Minus 100 to everyone but Jack because they're boring. All right.
Weird.
100.
Love you too.
100 satirical points to Kaecey.
Oh, so those are fake points.
100 to Kaecey for satire should exist as Mel Brooks began it where all the white women are.
What?
100 to Kaecey for the excellent answer. Points to Jack for a great answer. Points to Jack for some Xanax. Let's visit our dark web gift shop for some Xanax for Jack.
There we go.
Then you just got surveilled.
Points to Kaecey for supporting satire. Points to Burnin. Points to Burnin for a smart answer. Terry reposted. Thank you, Terry. I don't think that's our Terry. It's
no, that was a different logo, different image.
Different thing.
Same spelling and everything. Look at that.
Yeah. Points to Burnin. America's not lost its sense of humor. Points to Burnin for truth versus feelings. Minus to Kaecey for cancel culture comment. Points to Burnin. Cancel culture goes every way. People only complain when it's against them. Points to Burnin. Minus to Burnin for the broken television.
The television works. Damn.
I think they meant broken computer that never works every time that you're on here. But
It's your StreamYard. It works doing anything else.
oh yeah. Minus to Kaecey for not acknowledging cancel culture from the right. I lost hundreds of followers for calling it out. I've been
Fair.
losing followers like crazy the last
Yeah,
2 weeks. Minus to both contestants for the longest debate ever. Oh, you haven't seen enough of our shows
That
if you
was
think that was the
nothing.
longest. I don't even think that made the top 10. Points to Burnin for a good
Oh,
argument. Points to Burnin for understanding us lesbians love looking at Sweeney. Points to Burnin, Loomer, and Bondi both linked that lynch mob website. Yeah, that was crazy. Minus to Kaecey for having a naked hammer fight with Pelosi.
what? No.
Points to Burnin T for condemning the docs cancel culture. Points to Kaecey because you are a representative of your company. Minus to Kaecey for drinking Bud Light. Points to me for sounding like a hitman talking with talking mobs. Thank you. Points to Kaecey for boycotting a company is different. Points to Kaecey. Budweiser did it to themselves. New graphics hilarious. Thank you. I worked on that a lot. I've got like 30 of them and I just can't figure out how to load all of them. Points to Jack. Cancel culture. Agree. Points to Kaecey for being nuked. Wow, that's an interesting tactic. That's good. Points to Jack for identifying as a constitutional Republican citizen.
Oh, he's not.
Points to Burnin for buckling on his armadillo helmet. Did I miss that? What
happened there?
Yeah, no idea. I have no idea what most of these comments mean. I just read them.
I mean, let's face it. Mike's probably drinking with us, or with me at least.
Points to Kaecey for keeping it real about employment. Welcome, Kilburn. Minus to Jack. Newsom's hand pointing into nowhere. Points to Kaecey, right, about if an employer wants to fire you, they have that right. Employers used to search applicants' social media before offering employment. They do search it. Points to Jack for market correction. Points to Burnin per my last email. Points to Jack for citing the power of the market. Points to Kaecey for no government involvement. Hey, Annalie, welcome. Points to Kaecey, free speech. Points to Burnin. Both sides are guilty of crybaby cancel culture. Points to Jack, come back with a warrant. Points to Jack for the warrant. Points to Jack for no surveillance without the warrant. Minus to Burnin for having too much stuff in front of his TV. Yeah, that would drive me crazy during a football game. Points to Burnin for speech at work. Points to Kaecey, free Snowden, pardon Assange. Amen to that. Points to all three for pointing out classification abuses. Points to Burnin for the ball cap. Points to Kaecey for being so tolerant of all of us. Points to Kaecey for the left being horrible. Points to Kaecey, the Constitution gives us that. I offer 1,500 points to the least government trusting contestant. Which one of you gets those
Me.
points?
Right
You
here.
missed our last episode. They trust them a lot.
I keep my pistol under my desk in case the government shows up.
Oh boy, we weren't canceled before. Points to Kaecey for the fiery rhetoric. I threw up in my mouth a little bit seeing Dire Straits dancing with Maxine Waters. That's a horrible, horrible image, Mike. Thank you for that. Points to Jack for referencing Carlin. I'll give you that, Jack. You can piggyback off my Carlin reference. Points to Burnin T for the honest answer on J6. Repeat after me for negative 500 points. I vote because I trust my government and how my ballot is counted. I don't think we're gonna get a taker there. 100 points for Kaecey. All right, and we will go to the scoreboard and see where we're at. And Jack is in the lead now from worst to first, 3770. Burnin still in the middle with 3250. Kaecey's dropped to 1,500 points. Kaecey, was that the first time you were ever in first place?
I was not in first place.
Weren't
but
you in
I
first
was
place?
saying I was in first place.
No,
Uh,
Kaecey
a
was in
joke.
third.
You want to
Burnin
be
was in
serious.
first.
Oh,
Yeah.
Burnin was in first. All right.
Yeah.
I said I was because I know I'm in last. It's the first scoreboard on the show. I'm always in last every time.
Yeah, and then you got
For
nuked.
some reason,
so,
you guys believe me.
I wasn't even listening. I don't know where I came up with that. So, all right. Back to it. Kaecey, to you. And these are sponsored by Zano and our sponsor for the Friday night show. So visit intro.zano.org for more information. You can learn a lot about crypto and privacy coins and all the great stuff Zano does. So go there. All right, Kaecey, the category is financial censorship. Should financial censorship be treated the same as speech censorship?
Can I ask a clarifying question? I assume financial censorship means debanking, right?
Any sort of financial censorship, not being able to take credit cards or any of that.
Yeah, well, when it comes down to it, a company can choose on how they want to do business. If they don't want to do a business with somebody, they can cut off business with them. So, should financial censorship be treated the same as speech censorship? We do not have anything in our Constitution that says we need to protect us from any government regulation, but there is nothing that says we have to be able to do business with this organization. They can cut business with or business ties with anyone. So should there be? No.
All right.
Can I add on there? And I know you're probably
Go for it.
for time, but I think what that question is more referring to is kind of what we saw with companies like J.P. Morgan Chase and such that were being persuaded by the Biden administration to not do banking with people because of their political beliefs. And we saw that as a huge deal. And I want to say, and don't quote me, I want to say it was J.P. Morgan Chase that wouldn't do business with Trump because of the Biden administration requesting it. So I do believe it should be treated the same as free speech in the respect that it shouldn't be something that the government is influencing. But to Kaecey's point, if the company chooses not to do business with somebody because they don't like that individual, that's an entirely different story. But I don't think the government should influence whether or not somebody should allow banking.
I agree. And that's why peer-to-peer lending that you could do on the blockchain would be awesome too. So, Jack, to you. Is freezing accounts for political reasons unconstitutional?
Absolutely. I mean, then you can, again, it's just another way to silence your opponent. It's a way to actually stop your opponent. I mean, if you're freezing, imagine if you had president that were current presidents were able to freeze their opponent's campaign funds, right? Just for political reasons, because they want their campaign funds frozen. So then they're not able to do any campaigning. So next person can easily win president again. So it's absolutely unconstitutional. Freezing accounts for anything other than criminal warrants is unconstitutional.
Canada did it to the truckers during the COVID shit.
And that was illegal as hell.
Yeah.
So somebody take away Jack's no-dos.
Say again?
I said somebody take away Jack's no-dos.
I don't know what that is.
Mike bought him a Xanax, so I don't think he took it. I think that was kind of rude.
See, you gotta. I try to keep it in everybody's minds. I gotta be loud about it. It makes you remember.
Well, you got points for not being boring, or everybody else lost points for not being you. So
and T will remember this night because I was loud.
All right, Burnin, you. Is cutting off funds the ultimate silencing tool?
No, shooting somebody's the ultimate silencing tool.
Well, I guess that's
I
fair.
disagree, but I understand why you're saying that.
All right. Next category, debanking and control. Is debanking already a social credit system, Kaecey?
Yes, because you're taking their way. Like we know in the United States of America and most places in this world, if you want to make an impact, you need to have some money. You need to have influence. And so you need to be able to get in front of people, which involves money. And so when you debank them and you take away their funds, or you debank them to where they can't buy things because they are doing a big protest like they did in Canada, the truckers specifically, they couldn't fund gasoline for their generators because they were debanked. So yes, debanking people is a form of the shadow social credit score.
All right.
And they did that to Trump as well.
That is correct. Jack, to you. Should banks be allowed to shut accounts for political reasons?
I mean, if it's the bank that wants to do it out of their own thing, I mean, they can. Again, the market will correct this. People will stop going to a bank if they start shutting out accounts for political reasons. But now, if it's at the government's behest, then no, it's absolutely illegal and shouldn't be done. But a bank is a private corporation. They are allowed to do with their customers. If they want to cut them off for political reasons, they can. Now, they won't last very long, but they can do it.
No, they can't.
Yeah, it's just like any other company that they can not sell you if you're a Trump supporter. They do it all the time.
They're publicly traded. They receive federal backing. They're FDIC insured. They're 90% of all banks are a federal entity.
No. Now the government can stop federally funding them or remove licenses or whatever, but they can't criminally prosecute them for doing that. It is not illegal.
It is.
No, it's not. I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, look that up because they can. It is illegal. It's considered discriminatory.
Well, I don't know if that's really a discrimination act. It's not a protected discrimination class, you know?
Yeah,
I'd be interested in the answer there, too.
I'll look real quick. Go ahead.
All right. Burnin, to you. Is debanking proof financial power now controls speech?
I mean, financial power has always controlled speech. We don't need debanking as a proof for that. But yeah, it's evidence thereof.
Okay. All right. Kaecey, to you. Politics and the culture war. Should politicians stop fueling culture wars for votes?
Yes. Politicians should stop fueling the divide in this country. Politicians are the reason why we can't compromise or have a civil discussion in this country. They are driving exactly why everything has to be one way or another. We can't actually have a conversation to make sure we can do what's right for this country. Politicians are leading us down the wrong path.
Can I did look up that answer real quick. Are you done with your answer, Kaecey?
Yeah.
Okay. So what they're saying is while banks can close accounts for various legal and financial reasons, recent U.S. policies are aiming to prevent them from doing so for political purposes. So they still can for political purposes, but they're trying to prevent it moving forward is the thing because of what happened with Trump and all that other stuff.
Well, that was driven by the administration, but again, with the federal backing, and you're trying.
They can remove federal funding. They can't. The federal government can if they deem it to be like that, they can remove federal funding. I'm just talking about
in which case they collapse the bank, so that's
yes,
is finding them.
Okay, again, and that's like the market correcting it. I mean, I'm just saying that it's not criminally prosecutable, is what I mean.
It's civilly prosecutable.
Well, yeah,
civil liability. So,
without a doubt,
splitting hair on that one.
Yeah, no, it's without a doubt. You can sue. Hell, I'd be pissed off if they were doing it for political. I'd sue them too.
Okay. Back to it. Jack, to you. Is the culture war just a distraction from real issues? Jack, you hear me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I answered the last question. I'm sitting here thinking I'm sorry about that. Go ahead. I'm thinking I answered the last question because that was the last one. I apologize. Okay.
False start. We'll do it over. Just did it cost you 5 yards.
Yeah, stay with us.
Is the culture war just a distraction from real issues?
It's absolutely a distraction from real issues. In fact, it was made to distract you from real issues. The culture war isn't actually a real culture war. It was made by the government and by the media in order to distract you from the real issues. Because if you've got this side and this side going at each other, they're not going at you. If you can divide them over cultural issues such as race, such as, political BS, then they won't be fighting the government. They're not fighting the government. They're not going after the media and holding them accountable because they're too busy fighting each other. And honestly, it's a case of divide and conquer. That is the only reason that there's a cultural war.
All right. Burnin, to you. Is the culture war keeping America in permanent gridlock?
By design. Yes, it's the simple answer is yes. It's the culture war is there. You know, the left uses it to make the underserved more dependent on the government. It's they continue to offer free stuff and you know do all the things to keep them dependent. And then they tell them that you know the right is racist, etc. But they're always accusing you know us of exactly what it is that they're doing because it's they want to keep people ignorant and controlled. And then on the right, I mean, we're the same way. We just claim that everybody's stupid and doesn't have a voice. And this goes back to how we started this show. As long as we don't sit down and talk, nothing's going to change. We have to have that open exchange of ideas and conversations to overcome this. And the left and the right, and both parties are guilty of this, don't want that to happen. Because when that happens, what we're going to realize is that we agree on 90% of everything. It's that 10% that we have to hash out, and they don't want us doing that.
Big facts. And to add to that, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That is exactly what Charlie Kirk says, and that is exactly why they went after him.
And that's how we open the show. I mean, it's free. I think you pointed it out in your opening monologue. But yeah, we have to have open dialogue across the parties and quit listening to our fucking politicians who want us to believe only one thing, and that's their thing. We need to start talking to people.
Yeah, I think that's what happened to Charlie Kirk. Like, you know, I'm
Absolutely.
not, you know, I don't agree with a lot of what his politics were, but, you know, a lot of the people that are inciting violence around what he said, if you go back and you listen to the clips, if you listen to the 10 seconds before what they clipped and the 10 seconds after, you know, he was saying something kind of different than what they clipped to make this insightful piece. And so they're taking the culture wars and then they're doing magic editing to make it sound like he said something he didn't even really say, and, you know, getting people to fight each other. And, you know, meanwhile, they're stealing all of our money, our freedoms, and spying on us. And we're arguing about stuff that really doesn't matter and doesn't affect our real lives anyways.
Yep.
So
No, and the absolute thing that infuriates me the most is the whole black women don't have the brain power quote. You know what I mean? That is absolutely infuriating when they say that, because that's not what he said at all. He was talking about a few specific women in, you know, Michelle Obama and who was it? Ketanji Jackson. I'm sorry?
Mike Obama?
Yeah, Mike Obama. Right, exactly. He said it about 4 specific women, not about black women in general. And that's what really pisses me off when they say that kind of shit.
And one black guy.
Yeah, that's right.
oh boy.
Hey,
All right.
I'm sorry about you getting canceled, Free. Didn't mean to do it.
That happened a while ago. That's
They're going to debank him.
If they debank me, if I'm losing money on the show, does that help me? Is it like getting nuked when you're in negative points on the show? Is that how that works? All right. Back to you, Kaecey. The category is free speech and flag burning. Is banning flag burning unconstitutional?
Yes. You should be able to burn any flag you want, even if it is the flag that I love. You have to support that. One of the things I was told early on by my friend's grandfather, I want to say it was the early protests in LA or something like that in the early 90s or mid 90s, whatever it was. It was on TV, and I was telling my friend's grandpa that I don't like what they're doing on TV. And he said, I fought in wars against bad people for them to be able to do that. We cannot stop them from being able to do that. And I remember that to this day, and I will always remember that. We cannot stop people from doing those things. And this is where I very disagree with Donald Trump and what he's doing. We should not be doing anything like that. But overall, Burning the flag is a form of free speech. Supreme Court also stated that. We need to just stick to it and not make it any more complicated.
And correct me if I'm wrong, though. I believe that his executive order of the burning of the flag has to do with if it's in commission of another crime, if it leads to another crime.
It can be if you are also saying something hateful towards the country.
But it's not just the act of burning the flag.
No.
It kind of is, because he's saying if it incites people to be violent.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. You should be able to burn the flag as long as you own the flag.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. You cannot destroy somebody else's property, period.
The folks in North Carolina trying to burn the giant American flag at UNC,
Right.
that's a crime.
Yes.
Correct.
And we all agreed that inciting violence is not through speech is not a thing. So that makes that moot anyways. So
Sure.
all right, Jack, to you. Should all protest forms be legal, including burning the flag?
Well, I mean, there's also violent protest forms that I've seen that the left has kind of perfected lately. So I should say maybe all non-violent protests should be legal. I mean, and burning the flag, I wouldn't consider that a violent protest. It's also protected by free speech, as we just talked about, as long as you own the flag. So as long as you're not committing a crime, then I do believe that all protests should be legal, as long as you're not committing a crime like vandalizing someone's property or committing violence upon another person.
As long as you're not committing a crime, it should be legal.
There you go.
Thank you. Good night. That should be the whole show.
Thank
there.
you.
Crossing the border is illegal.
Well, I mean, as long as, and what I said, as long as you're not committing a crime, it should be legal. And it's right. If you're not committing a crime, it is legal. I'm saying.
Yeah. All right, Burnin, to you. Should America tolerate even the most offensive protests?
That's a loaded question, because what do you consider the most offensive protest, right? It's to me, we should tolerate legal protests. In legal protests mean they get their permit, they go out, they hold their signs, they march and they chant and they don't block roadways. But to me, an offensive protest is when somebody sits down and tries to block traffic. And no, we shouldn't tolerate it. I'm all gas, no brakes. So they really need to understand where protest crosses the line into criminal behavior, and criminal behavior should never be condoned. In the Summer of Love, with mostly peaceful protests, and who was it? Tim Wall's wife. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I love opening my window to the smell of burning rubber in the morning. No, there's things that America should not tolerate, and we cannot continue to tolerate or continue to support and promote.
And wait, did you hear where he just made fun of me a second ago, right? But then he also said, when protests cross over into the criminal, then we shouldn't be able to tolerate it, right? But when I say, as long as it's legal, as long as it's not a crime, then it should be legal. I think that's kind of saying the same thing.
No, yours was highly redundant.
No. I said the same thing you said. As long as they're not committing a criminal act, it should be legal, right? That's what you said.
I can have that read back to you like a child if you like.
And that's what you said. That's what you said. You said as long as it doesn't cross over into the criminal, we shouldn't tolerate it once it crosses over into the criminal. That's what you said, ain't it?
We need a court
exactly,
reporter.
I'm saying.
Yes, we do.
Anybody have a stenographer handy?
I'm saying, that's exactly what I'm saying. What you're saying is the same thing I said.
All right, back to you, Kaecey. Category is criticism of foreign governments. Should Americans be free to criticize any foreign government?
Should. I am. I'm free to criticize my own government. It doesn't have to be foreign. That is what what is our First Amendment and what it is about. I should be able to criticize any form of government, whether it is mine or anybody else's. You cannot do anything about it.
All right. Jack, to you. Should universities protect criticism of all governments equally?
I mean, they should. I mean, they're universities, at least most universities, if not all universities, receive some sort of, government funding or even run by the government themselves in one way, shape, or another. But I mean, you should be able to. It's free speech. You should be able to criticize any government any government equally. I mean, yeah, it's free speech.
Burnin, you. Is foreign criticism the front line of free speech today?
Is it the front line of free speech? No, it's a component of what we're seeing going on today. We see it with the Free Palestine movement. But this goes back to, you should be allowed to criticize any foreign government for any reason. It's free speech. It is what it is. But there's also consequences. If you're not a U.S. citizen and you want to go out and be pro-Palestine, anti-Israel, and say certain things, I mean, as Marco Rubio would say, you're a guest in our country. We have a right to kick you out of our house. Now, with that being said, I don't think that somebody who says, Free Palestine should have their visa revoked. I completely disagree with them. I think it's an ignorant statement. But, it's a consequence. This again goes to where they cross over from a legal, peaceful protest or peaceful criticism to setting up encampments on a university, which then crosses into trespassing, etc. Mm-hmm. And there should be consequences for those actions. If somebody wants to hop online and say, hey, I dislike Jews, and I'm not saying that because I personally do, I obviously don't. But if somebody goes on there and says that, that is free speech. If somebody sets up an encampment in the middle of a university and they rope it off and claim it's a government-free zone, that crosses over the line.
Okay. Kaecey, back to you. Categories campus free speech. Should universities be forced to allow any speaker, even controversial ones?
Forced to? Should universities be allowed to? Yes. It's free speech. You should not be it is their own property. They can do what they want, but we should be promoting it and allowing people to speak freely. And that is where we have gone wrong in a lot of the college campuses, is we want to enforce control there. So the young moldable minds get used to that. So when they grow up, they accept government control and they don't push back against it. But should universities be forced to allow any speaker, even controversial ones? It is their property. They can do what they want. We can't do that, but it should be strongly encouraged to support the First Amendment.
Okay. Jack, to you. Should protest ever be allowed to shut down a campus event?
I mean, you can't, I don't think you can just, it depends. I mean, that's kind of a loaded question because you can't really stop, a protest as long as they're not on private property. Well, I guess if it's on the campus, the school can pretty much do what they want. They can remove them if they want to allow them to shut down the campus event. Again, that's on the school, and the market, again, corrects itself in the same way. I'm not going to send my kid to a school where they, allow campus events. If someone's having a basketball game and they allow, 100 people to rush in there and stop the event, I'm not going to send my kid to that school. But at the same time, I'm not going to say that the school can't allow that protest to do that. The school, the market will correct itself there. It's a free market. That's what we have.
All right, Burnin, to you. Should students face expulsion for speech?
I'm going to go with the unpopular opinion here and say, yes, there are times when speech is appropriate to face expulsion for. It's again, this goes back to, should employers be allowed to terminate somebody over what they post online? And sometimes the answer is yes. If what you say does not align with the values and the culture of the school for which you're attending, there are consequences for actions. And free speech is free, but that doesn't mean that there's not consequences. And that's where so many people get hung up. And we didn't, censure Ilhan Omar this week, because 4 people said, well, free speech is absolute. Well, no, she's absolutely allowed to say that, but that doesn't mean that there's not consequences. So if you come out and you say some stupid shit at Harvard, and it does not align with their values, you should be expelled.
What about the people that got expelled for saying, they were glad that Kirk was dead?
I support it. It doesn't align with their values. Praising the assassination of somebody shouldn't align with anybody's values.
I disagree with that one. I mean, free speech is free speech. Public schools are public schools. You should be able to say whatever you want, whether it's unpopular or not. I mean, that, you know, now
I disagree.
do we have to force people to continue to fund them? Do we have to force the donors to donate the same amount next year? No, but
Exactly.
You know,
Free market.
yeah,
It doesn't align with their values. So I completely disagree. I think that they have the
it's a
right
public
to-
school. Their values are free speech, and that's it. There's no free speech light or
it's
you
a
know,
federally
free
funded
speech.
school that also has private backers, etc. It's not 100% public school. You have to apply. You have to get accepted. I mean, this isn't like anybody can attend. And they have a set of values that their alum hold them to. There's standards that they're held to. Otherwise, if it was a public school, as you describe it, everybody could just go. If you can pay the tuition, you can go. That's not how it works, right? There are standards. You go through interview processes to get admitted.
Some of these
So-
schools are open enrollment. I mean, the
I mean,
enrollment
give me an
status
example-
shouldn't.
give me an example of somebody that's expelled from a public school that was full open enrollment. Oh wait,
I mean, of course, it's
A&M,
free speech. It has
UT.
nothing to do with your enrollment status and, you know, how many interviews. I mean, is there a number of interviews? If you have 2 interviews, it's okay, but 3, it's not. I mean, where do you?
no,
make those
I'm saying
rules?
you have the right to free speech, but you also have the right to consequences for your speech.
But who decides? You know, What-
The institution that you're enrolled in this institution. You said
The
this
owner
as
of
this
the property
institution. They
that you're
decide.
on decides.
You have
I mean,
a dean.
if it's not a government institution, then the owner of the property that you're on decides what you can and cannot say on their property.
Or in this case, the dean of administration, the dean of academics, whoever it is, whichever dean it is, there's people responsible for making those decisions. And quite frankly, I'm fine with it. If you want to celebrate the assassination of a person, that is your right to do so.
but what
But
about? I mean, like,
they're right.
Well, the Constitution, the free speech in the Constitution only protects you from the government.
Yes.
but a public school is a government-owned school.
It's a government-funded institution, but it is not government-owned and operated.
That's the definition of a public school.
No. Now they
owned
can
by the
pull the
government.
funding. They can pull the
UT is
funding.
not owned by the federal government, nor is Harvard, nor anybody
No.
else.
They just fund. They can
Harvard's
fund. They
private.
can find other ways to be funded if they wanted to. They'd have to.
UT is private. Texas A&M is private. They have government funding, but they're not owned by the federal government. None of
No.
the schools are owned by the federal government.
No.
They're owned by the state government.
I
No,
don't.
they're not.
No, they're just in contract. They have like school systems that they're in, but they're funded by them. Don't get me wrong. Most of their funds come from these things. But if they wanted to, be funded a different way, they could. They're allowed. I mean, it's their property. They own the property, just like in your house. If you don't want someone saying shit about you in your house, you can tell them to leave. It's your property.
Yep.
All right, you're all wrong. So negative 100 all you. So.
The government.
Jack,
thinks we're
Jack,
wrong.
you were on my
Yeah.
side. You flip flopped to the wrong side.
I gotta
There-
say,
there was a terrible pivot there.
it's real. I mean, that is what it is. It is what it is. On private property, there's nothing I can do about it. I wouldn't want somebody talking shit about me on my property. That's why you're not on my property right now, Free.
But it's not private. It's not private property though. It's public property.
It's not public property. It's
Hey.
the school's property, and the school is not
Yeah.
owned by the government.
That's literally the definition of a public.
No,
school,
they're
but-
funded
They're
by the
not
government.
public schools. They're publicly funded. There's a
Not
difference.
not owned. The school doesn't own the government doesn't own the school. It just funds it. Now, don't get me wrong. If the government wants to cut off the funds because the school expelled this person for free speech, that's fine. Then the school has to find another way to be funded. But they are not owned by any means by the government.
UT Austin, if they want to build a new stadium, they build the new stadium. They use their endowments. They don't ask permission from the local government or anything else. They are their own decision makers.
So the part you guys are missing is you're both right. Free is talking about the money.
I like that. The part you're missing is that you're both
The
right.
part
I love
that
that.
you guys are missing is about the money. Free's correct. When it comes to universities, they are state funded.
Yeah,
However, they are still privately owned land.
exactly.
And so that is where I do side with these two. When it comes down to it, it is privately owned land. It is not public property because the government doesn't own the property. They are funded by the state and the government. Correct.
And we said that, Kaecey. We weren't wrong about that part. We said
Well,
they are funded by the government.
Right.
They're just not owned by the government.
Yeah. And so when it comes down to private property, it is not public property at a school campus. It is private property. It is why you can get called, you can have trespass, like all of those tents and stuff that we went through. What was it, a couple years ago, and we demoed them with a bulldozer? We did that in the name of private property to get rid of them. And
So
that
according to Grok, the University of Texas is a public institution owned and governed by the state government of Texas.
So University of Texas.
So you trust Grok?
No, I mean, I trust myself because I knew it was right when I said it the first time, but that's
But
just a
it's
verification.
not. That's totally
Who's
incorrect.
it
They're a
owned by
private
then?
institution.
Everything's owned by somebody.
It's
It's owned
my
by
a
mistake.
nuanced thing because he said University of Texas. I'm talking about universities in general. And that's the difference is if you want to silo and pick a single university, not one of us three said a single university. We talked in a general statement.
No, I said UT as an example because that's where
Okay, UT
young
is
gentleman was-
owned by Texas government. And so it is going to be a little bit different.
Okay. You were all wrong yet again, but all right.
No.
So
You got one Texas, you got one university out of this country.
I mean, do you literally not understand how public schools work? That's literally what a public school is. It's owned by the state government.
No, they're not.
It literally is. That's literally what public means.
Just Google, are university properties owned?
You don't understand the
public
difference
land?
between public and private. Like it's one of the most simple parts of government. Is something public or is something private? But let's move on because you're all wrong. And
I guess Walmart's
it's been scored.
Public also. Walmart is public, guys.
It's not public. It's a private company.
Okay. What's the difference of a university?
A public one is owned by the state. A private one is not owned by the state.
Yo,
That's
we've turned this
literally
horse
different.
into glue already.
Yeah. All right. Casey, a new question for you to be wrong about. Here you go.
Yep.
Free speech and student visas. Is limiting student speech un-American?
Is limiting student speech un-American? Yes. Now, if you are here on a visa, because that is what is in the timeline, well, as a category, you are here on a permittable basis. You are here to be following rules and guidelines. If you push that, you do not have free speech in this country if you are not an American citizen. The Constitution applies to us Americans. No one else. If it applied to everybody, like some libertarians claim, then we would have the Constitution applied globally, not in America. So, yes, it is un-American.
All right, Jack, to you. Should free speech apply equally to visa holders?
Should free speech apply equally to visa holders? I mean, yeah, I guess so. If they're here legally, it should apply to them. As long as they're here legally, it should apply to everybody that's here legally. And I just want to say that I was doing some research recently, and honestly, I am surprised to find this out too. But Free was right. I mean, even the University of North Carolina is owned by the state of North Carolina. I mean, it even owns the property, the different entities, and all of those things. And I'm man enough to admit when I was wrong. I thought there's no way they own the property. They just fund the school. But it seems to me that all of these schools that are publicly funded are indeed owned by the government. The property too.
Well, not that are all publicly funded. A public
Well, at least
school is
I would
owned
say-
by the state.
The university,
lot of
the
schools,
state
like
institutions, if you will.
The
Like
state
the University of
institutions-
North Carolina schools, like the University of Texas, University of Georgia, those kind of things.
Yeah, and their board of regents are nominated by the governor. They receive state funding,
And the property is actually held in a permanent, some kind of trust that I saw, that I was reading about. I mean,
That's a lie.
Casey, this is a dumb hill to die on, man. It's literally.
I'm telling you, man.
Who-
I looked up
Who owns
different
BYU? Who
states.
owns BYU?
BYU? Is that a public?
It's a
or
private school. BYU is a
BYU,
private
yeah,
school.
just like Duke University is a private school.
You're like confusing the difference between like a public school and a Catholic school. Like that's what you're confusing right now. Like Catholic school is not owned by the public.
I believe BYU is a Mormon school.
That's what I'm getting to. Who owns BYU? No one's. Everybody's.
It's a
judging
private school.
It's a
I'm not-
private
No
school,
one
though.
said all schools
The
are
government
public,
doesn't own
Casey.
BYU. It's a private school.
Holy cow!
Just like the
This is-
government doesn't own Duke.
Yeah.
But I was shocked to learn that UNC and all the UNC's colleges, the 7 different colleges in North Carolina that are UNC, are the property and everything actually owned by the government. That was not something that I was aware of. So, you know, I'm man enough
they're
given
in the
that new
state
information-
constitutions too.
I'm
given
man
that
enough to
new
admit when I was
information, Jack,
wrong about something.
No,
All right.
and given that new information, I stand by what I said. They should still expel the people that are celebrating assassinations.
I mean, now, is that my personal feeling? Yeah, I believe that's my personal feeling, but is that legal?
Yeah.
Can I celebrate the assassination of a foreign politician?
What if somebody did the assassination of Joe Biden? He was assassinated, and they celebrated it on, you know, UNC campus or University of Texas campus.
Or
They should
could
be
you be
expelled.
expelled for saying you're glad that Joe Biden has cancer? I mean, like, could you be expelled for that? Like, who makes these rules? Like, do you want AOC like making the rules of who can be expelled or not? Like,
That's why the rules are based on either laws for private institutions or the Constitution for government institutions. It is what it is.
No, look at the student bylaws. If they have morality clauses and things of that nature, you face consequences if you do things that go against their norm. Period. And you, by the way, when you enroll in a school, you sign documents accepting their rules and bylaws.
Yep.
That's true. You do that.
So you're agreeing to these terms up front.
Which is
Yeah.
private property.
Yeah.
Because they
On
can't
some.
fire you if you do it on a sidewalk. They can't get rid of you if you do it on a sidewalk. They're not going to be able to do that.
But anyways, again, that's still a dead horse.
All right. A horse that I won. Just throwing that out there. All right, Burnin, back to you.
I would say both people won it because you were right that some of them are publicly funded, but also some of them aren't. So it's kind of, a two, you both won.
No, I said public schools, but also most of the private schools get public funding too.
No,
So
I won
that's
the
the one
question
that
because I still
Trump-
agree they should be
Trump
expelled.
keeps talking about Harvard because Harvard has a $2 billion endowment and is still getting public funds.
They
which is
are.
just absolutely asinine.
They should pull public funds if they're violating. The government has every right to pull public funds from a private university if they're violating a law or whatever that is. You know, free speech.
I'll go a step further. Private schools should not get public funds at all.
Facts.
There you go.
Facts.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Burnin, you. Should foreign students be expelled for hate speech? Notice the quotes there.
I believe that foreign students here on a student visa can face expulsion for using speech that goes against the values and the culture of the university that they're at, where they've signed and agreed to conditions to be there.
Okay.
I will give him that. They do sign and agree to conditions in order to go there. Most people don't read them. Just like when you click accept on those terms of service, you don't read it, but you do agree to it.
Well, but I'll take it a step further. So, where Burnin T was right, if you sign some sort of morality code for attending a school.
And they do make you do that at BYU.
Yeah. I mean, we had to do it to play sports in high school, so.
They had to do it at Glendale Community College.
Yeah. But,
Hell
but
yeah.
I'll take it a step further and there should be no public schools. So I win yet again. So
Well, I don't know about that.
Kaecey, back to you. Oh, nope. Enter scores. We have
I'll enter
reached
my
the
score.
end.
You want me to enter my score?
Yeah, you're in a big hole. You got nuked by me and by Zach. So all right.
You got nuked by you.
I guess we have the U.S. government on with us, and he's just going to start nuking everybody because that's what he's got is drones.
And I'm in favor of it as long as he's nuking Kaecey.
Yep.
No, you nuked yourself in an argument with me. But
No.
with not understanding the difference between public and
Ban
private.
TikTok. Hashtag ban TikTok.
I'm clipping the Walmart. Is Walmart a public school or whatever you said earlier? I'm
It's
clipping
private
that.
property.
I'm clipping that.
It's private property. I still stand by that.
This one's funny though. Scientific says minus 100 to Kaecey for being a good sport. So plus 100 to Kaecey for bringing up the rear. I like that.
which is in no way reference to a sexual orientation.
I like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Green Eye said, we love you all, just like some passion. Yeah, we had a lot of passion tonight. 500 for clarifying the question. Points to Jack. He's correct. The UK is a hot mess. 100%. Points to Kaecey, a business should have their.
What?
Yeah,
Oh, that was the end.
Yeah. 500 voices in my head told me to award 500 points to Kaecey. Points to Burnin for explaining the financial answer as my brain is off work tonight. Thank you. That's what we're here for. Just turn the brain off, have a drink. Points to Kaecey. Social credit score is absolutely government control. Points to Jack for telling it like it is. Points to Jack just because I can't keep up and I know he's doing good. Jack gets the most, like, I think Jack got that point answers or in the comments. That
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Points to Burnin. Points to Kaecey for social credit score. Points to Kaecey for debanking answer. Points to Burnin about banking the FDIC. Points to Burnin for explaining the truth on banking. He's right. Sorry, Jack. Points to Burnin for no-dos. I got the no-dos too.
Yeah, you're old enough. Apparently, Jack's still a young punk.
Yeah, Jack's never hit a truck stop at 2:00 in the morning and had to make it all the way to Chicago. All right. Points to everyone for being more entertaining. Points to Kaecey for politicians and ending their influence on the culture wars. minus 20 to Jack for the false start. Yeah. Points to Jack for the culture wars being a distraction. Points for Jack on the culture wars. Points to Kaecey. Points to Burnin for his response about the culture wars is by design. Points to Burnin. Points for not listening to politicians. Minus 50 for him not being able to explain what Biden was saying about Burnin. I don't know. I messed that up. Let's pretend none of that happened. Points to Kaecey for Mike. Points to Kaecey for he wears a black wedding ring like I do. Points to Jack for debanking comment. 40 trillion points to Terry, more than the national debt for all that she does. 100% on that. Points to Jack only if you own the flag. Points to Kaecey. We cannot stop people from burning the flag. It's a form of free speech, even if we don't like it. Points, negative points to Burnin. I don't need no stinking permit to protest from Humphrey Bogart's movie Sierra Madre. Points to Jack for the protest answer. Minus to T for copying. Points to Kaecey for criticism. Points to Jack for confusing people. I guess that's a tactic now. Points to Kaecey for free speech should be allowed on campus. Points to all three contestants for supporting free speech, even if it's awful and hurtful speech. Points for holding people accountable for their actions, Burnin. Points to Burnin for putting the fire on expelling. Points to Jack for that laugh. Points to Jack if we took away the right to speech for anybody who took government money, basically nobody would have rights. Points to Jack because the application of speech should be applied equally to students on visa. Points to Jack for admitting when he's wrong, even when he disagrees. Points to Jack. Prime example of how the debate works and still be friends. I wish politicians.
Oh no, I'm
would take
blocking
notes.
all three of these individuals after this. I'm blocking all three of them.
Yeah,
I already blocked you, Kaecey. So no need.
I blocked myself, so I don't have to do the next.
I'm
show,
unfriending everybody as they say this.
So. Mark's here. What's up, buddy? Points to Burnin for hate speech. $2 billion to Terry for keeping score. That's a good one.
She already got 40 trillion.
Right?
I won, and she came in second tonight. I think that's going to be the outcome here. Points to Burnin. I will take 100 for myself as congressional members should be held to the same standards as foreign students. I like that idea.
Yeah.
And points to Kaecey. He knows property rights. Did nobody bust you guys on any of that shit? What is going on? Yeah.
Terry's suppressing the free speech. All the people that said bad shit, she just didn't put them up there.
All
Well, the
right.
night goes by quickly, doesn't it, boys?
If you notice, Bree got no points out of that entire argument.
I'm literally the only one that understands what the word public means. I don't know how I got no points.
It's your
out of that.
colorful microphone. It loses all momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it brought me down to your level, so it's worth it.
You're welcome.
So, all right, let's check to see who won here. Amity said I did get points, so there we go.
No, Amity, stop that right now.
How do I sort this where I only see Amity's questions? 'Cause
See?
she does good ones all the time.
Yeah, of course. Look at the government. I only
See,
want
there
to
we
see
go.
who congratulates me, who gives me
Yeah.
points.
Oh, Chris gave me points too. Here we go. See,
Oh,
they're coming.
great. Here comes everybody.
Yeah.
What he left out is they were negative points.
This was like going to art school tonight. All I had to understand is what the word public meant, and I graduated. So that was good. Yeah. All right. Dan would never give me points because I'm the government. That's fair.
There you go, Dan. Well done.
All right. Let's see who won here. And there we go. Burnin wins with the big 45-50 score, 300 in front of Jack, and Kaecey 28-80. The nuke didn't even really hurt you there, Kaecey. So third place, Kaecey, what do you think?
I'm a libertarian. I'm used to losing, so I don't really care. But it overall, the point of this is to have fun and to be able to make an emphasis on how we can have a disagreement, but also educate. And we did that well tonight. Minus free. If the other three were all just if us three were just talking, we would have made a lot more progress.
Yeah, you guys would have figured out what a school was by the end of this without me.
And TikTok.
And Jack, second place. What did you think?
Well, honestly, I think the scoring's rigged, and I would like a recount. I would like Terry to stay up late tonight and go through each answer again and make sure the points are correct.
I don't think you listen to the rules. Recounts are never a good idea. All of a sudden, Kaecey got second place.
let me add Terry here. Says I think the funny thing, and I don't know if I've ever said this on the show, but
wait a minute, Emily said she nuked Burnin. I see it.
Oh, that's funny. I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly on the show, but the original idea was we weren't even going to really keep score. I was just going to penalize people and everybody was going to lose. So that Terry actually tries to keep score was never asked for by me. So this is all like her thing totally. I was just going to make up a score at the end and tell you guys all lost because you know what a public school is.
You also should have saw the Excel spreadsheet he tried to put together. There was no way it was going to work. Like no way. It was a complete disaster.
That worked for like a couple shows. So I mean, for something that was supposed to be fake, it was great.
She knows exactly what I'm saying.
All right. Well, Burnin, you escaped a nuke and you won. What do you think?
I think tonight is exactly how society needs to be. We all had fun. I mean, we got heated. Jack definitely got heated. I think, he may not know what no-dose is, but he's definitely taken some. I mean, he had maybe 6 or 10 more Red Bulls than he needed. But it was a good time, right? We all debated, each of us, I think, won some points. Each of us lost some points. That's what we need more of. So Free, and if I haven't said this to you, Free, I appreciate you doing this because this is a great way to bring information to light. I know a lot of it's structured around your individual political beliefs, but you accept other beliefs, and I really appreciate that as well. And Terry, thank you very much for inviting us up to do this again. And we appreciate everything you do behind the scenes to make this happen.
Yeah, when we were talking about that, this was our anniversary show. We thought nobody better to do it with. I mean, you three that have been on so many of these and, always put in such an effort. And, Burnin, you bailed us out. Like when, somebody, I think when Maj got in the car accident and Tony's lung collapsed and you just jumped in last minute, and you guys have done so much to make this show fun and make it successful. And, we disagree on stuff and we agree on most stuff, but I consider you guys friends no matter what. And,
Absolutely.
Terry and I were like, this would be a great show to do for our anniversary. So we appreciate you guys and we appreciate you doing it. And, Burnin, I also appreciate that you were making a point throughout the show to say, that this is what we need. We need to be able to disagree and, go at it a little bit. And, sometimes it gets a little, we get a little tense with each other or terse. And, but at the end of the day, we just let it go because we're all on the same side of wanting, freedom and prosperity and the best for
America.
Our kids and the next generation and our churches and to make everything better and continue to improve it and continue to all push in the same direction. So, Terry, what did you think?
I love this. I love this crew. And the reason I do is because I know no matter what, because, I don't agree with any of you. I think you're all full of poo-poo.
We are.
But even though you are, everybody remains friends, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys keep America foremost in your mind, and not all of the socio-political garbage that gets thrown around on X all day. And you guys all try to stay positive almost all of you try to stay positive all the time. And Free, it's been a great year, buddy.
It's been a blast.
Yep. Hopefully we can keep it going, and especially thanks to these three. And for all you guys out there in the chat whining about Free not getting any points, I just want you to know that, yes, I saw the points, and I'll be damned if I'm going to give the government points. All right. Talking about free speech, and the government's up there yip, yipping. You guys forget he's not free. He's the government. No, government gets no points on a CR and the crappy week they had. No, not happening.
I planned the perfect amount of drink for the night. 1 red Solo Cup, 132 ounce Yeti.
There you go. The whole idea of the show, like I remember when I first told Kaecey, I'm like, I have this idea and you're going to tell me it's stupid, but just hear me out. And he's like, actually, I kind of like that idea, which, between me and Kaecey, we never agree on pretty much anything. So I was like, really? And then I remember I called Terry and I said, here's my idea. And she's like, I love it. And I'm like, all right, let's try it. And, if you go back and you watch the ones from a year ago, they were wild, but, that it turned into this, and that, 3 guys of your stature will come on and do this. I mean, it's just, I'm honored to be able to do it. And, it's so much fun to do. And, I try to come at it from the point of the Constitution and freedom and where we're at today and the laws that actually exist. And so, sometimes I know you guys feel like I throw a curveball at you or whatever, but I try to keep it on a fair playing field level where we talk about, like, is it constitutional or is it not constitutional? Not is it, this ideological thing that'll never happen. So, but a lot of fun. Let me, Kaecey, plug the show.
Yeah, you can join me on They Both Suck podcast on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. We talk about politics, all the political commentary without the party lines, to keep all the bullshit out. We need to be talking about honesty and truth about how corrupt our government is, regardless of your political affiliation.
Amen.
And Terry got 5,900 points for screwing me out of points there. So that's points to her. Lots of people love the show, though. Lots of great stuff. And thank you, William. And thanks, everybody. Just really nice comments in the chat. Thank you so much. Well, I guess I'm taking credit for what Terry does, but on behalf of Terry, I thank you. So, thank you. Burnin, to you, what do you want to plug, bud?
Hey, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you'd like a good quality hat, visit www.burnint.com or burninTranch.com. We've got lots of good merchandise available. But outside of that, no, look, I love this show. Check out Kaecey's show. Jack, you've got a great show as well. So, keep it up, guys.
And Jack, I'll give you the last plug here.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. So, our show is Secret America Podcast. We moved it to Mondays at 7 p.m. because it was Sundays, but most people said, that they're usually home on the weeknights, when they can watch it. And I didn't want to do it on Wednesdays. I didn't want to, kind of cross over with Kaecey's podcast. I didn't want to mess up, Burnin's show. I want to be able to see those rather than do my own show. And I didn't want to do it on Tuesdays or Fridays either to compete with this show either, because let's be honest, there's no competition. I can't compete with you guys. You guys' shows are awesome. But I do want to say that we are going to have some good guests coming up on Secret America. So on Monday, September 29th, we're going to have Dinesh D'Souza on. He's going to be talking about his new documentary that's coming out. It's called The Dragon's Prophecy, and it's about the whole October 7th and Hamas thing, and then the Israel-Palestine war and all the things that's going on there. So we got him, and then later on, sometime in October, we haven't got the exact date yet, but we're going to have Gavin McInnes on. He is the founder of the Proud Boys. And so we got some really interesting guests coming up on the show, and it's going to be really good. You can see it on YouTube, on Rumble, and it's always live streamed on X on my page. That's America's Outlaw. It's at America's with a Z, America's Outlaw on X.
Awesome. Those are huge shows coming up. That's great. Terry, anything you want to add?
I can add who's coming on Tuesday. Would you like for me to do that?
I'm afraid to ask you now because you yelled at me last time. But if you know, go ahead and throw it out there.
I I don't like to be told what to do. I mean, really. Okay. So we have Mike Termott coming on, who's going to be very interesting, I'm sure, to say the least. And with him is Sean Shepard out of I
Indiana.
believe it's Indiana. And then also Brian Escow. This will be interesting because Brian is actually one of my favorites because he's like he represents a large portion of the United States as far as people who don't really know what party they belong to or where they belong in the overall universe of government and politics. And he's been going through about a year-long series of trying to figure out where he belongs. So he's one of my favorites to listen to. And you guys will enjoy it. I'm sure they'll have differences and it'll be fun. It'll be fun as always.
Always. That will be a good one.
Yeah,
Awesome.
it should be.
And let me just throw this up here one more time. Everybody's shows. Kaecey, They Both Suck, Wednesdays, 8 p.m. You can follow him at American versus Gov. Burnin T is Burnin Truth. You can follow him at Burnin T Ranch. And Jack is Secret America Podcast. Moved to the new day and time, Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern. He's on YouTube and Rumble. And you can follow him at America's with a Z Outlaw. And yeah, great show. Lots of fun. Thanks for celebrating our anniversary with us, and appreciate everybody in the chat and everybody that's made us successful. We love, how much help we get promoting the show and reposting and all that. I mean, it's just an honor that you guys like it that much. So really appreciate y'all. And we'll see you Tuesday at 8 p.m. Have a great weekend and be safe.